Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Civivi Baklash. First thing out, you'll notice the really wonderfully bright orange scales, which are G10 and have some nice machining here. So we have a flat and then two chamfers here. The chamfers are actually slightly scalloped. They're not just flat. Has a decently sized lanyard hole, which is a protected, so it's the edge is nowhere near your lanyard, and you'll be able to get a paracord through there. You'll notice that it is a deep pocket carry clip, which actually works as a deep pocket carry clip and is right side and left side of options, which is great as this is a flipper. You have universal deployment whether you are right-handed or left-handed. Semi-open construction with a orange G10 spacer here. The blade is nicely centered right out of the box. There is some jimping on the back of the blade, but it is not aggressive in the least. It's quite comfortable with some nice chamfers. And there's a little bit of jimping here on the liner lock itself. The pivot has got the Civivi C on it. The other side is just pretty much a standard pivot vibe. Overall, it is a fairly sleek design, and I like the fact that it came in a number of color options. I mean, there was like I think it's available in carbon fiber, but there were like 5 or 6 different color options on this, which I was quite impressed with. I like having options when it comes to scales. I find tactical black very boring. And right out of the box, it came out with a really nice deployment. The blade has no play in either direction, and we have about 30% lockup with some nicely machined liners. This is a double row of oblong holes on that side, and this has a single side of holes, and then of course the cutout for the liner itself, the liner lock itself, which the slot ends in a little circle, which is helps create the pivot point for the spring action of the liner lock. You have a nice aggressive swedge here. I like a nice swedge, and it makes it look like it's got a nice forward thrust to this. And which you could actually do because your fingers are not going to ride up on here. Though if you have to choke up on the blade, that choil is amply large enough that you could do it without cutting yourself if you had to make some up close controlled cutting, say feathering a piece of wood if you want to make a feather stick for starting a fire. We have a flat grind here with a hollow ground blade. Not my favorite. I know lots of people like hollow grind blades. I am not one of them. I prefer a flat grind. It came out of the box with a nice edge, not shaving sharp, but also quite usable. Just a very cool blade with a nice aggressive look, because you have this slope up here, and it just looks. It has an aggressive vibe to it. I really happen to like, and I've been very happy with Civivi knives. I think that they are some very solid quality when it comes to knives that aren't going to break the bank. This was it's under 50. I think it was like $40 range when I paid for this, if I'm not incorrect. And I think it's well worth what they're asking for it. Again, my only real gripe with this thing is the fact that I would prefer a flat grind. I realize that probably puts me in a minority out there. But let me check out. I don't notice it. Does this thing drop closed? Not so much. I didn't mess with the pivot. You could probably get it to drop close, but I don't necessarily require a knife to drop close. I know some people like it too. You could probably loosen that up just a smidge and get it to drop close if you wanted to, but it doesn't bother me whether it does or doesn't. I'm so used to just doing that when I want to close a knife. That's one of the reasons I love flippers so much. With a liner lock, you're doing this, and then it stops because of that bump, and then I can come back here and close it safely. So my thumb is never in danger of being cut, which I really appreciate. I know that there are other types of locking mechanisms that completely circumvent that issue, but liner locks are very common. They're a fairly simple lock to install, so we're going to be seeing them for a very long time. I imagine that we will be seeing liner locks of some variety 100 years from now. Not that I'll be here to review them. But yeah, I was quite happy with this little blade, the Civivi Baklash. quite usable. Not going to be my everyday carry forever because, again, I'm not been into hollow grinds so much. But it did carry nicely in my pocket. It did everything it was supposed to do, and I find it attractive. I appreciate the little touches here with, you know, having a protected lanyard hole, having nice little scallops on bevels, having an aggressive swedge on top. I appreciate that, those little touches. I think it's nice. So this has been the Civivi Baklash, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll be here for my next gear review.